What up, anybody, and welcome to another episode of the SVR Podcast. And today, guys, we have another pro wrestler who is also part of a faction called Egyptian. And he's also owning a federation that has like 373 members. And it's called FCW, which stands for Fighting Championship Wrestling. So without any further ado, man, I'm gonna introduce to you. His name is qtStove.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My bad. I'm kind of nervous, but yeah, we here. Thanks for having me.
Alright, Stove. So basically what I have to do with you is ask you 10 questions regarding about your pro wrestling experience. Such as what made you decide to pursue with this hobby, major title that you are most proud of, and a few more that we're going to talk about with these questions. So without any further ado, are you ready, man?
Yes, sir. I'm always ready.
Alright, so first question I'm gonna ask you is, what made you decide to pursue your own pro wrestling career?
Well, around 2018ish, I was invested in it into wrestling itself, like WWE, Ring of Honor, and I was already on Roblox, but I don't know. One day, out of curiosity, I just searched up WWE and I found this game called 2K17, right? So I joined it, and I played for a good 2-3 months, every day after school or whatever. And I met a lot of good people, but the main person that got me into federations and stuff was, well, his name is IVD. He's I wouldn't say he's big, but he is big, but but yeah, anyway. So he got me into that. He introduced me to this fed that I'll talk about later. But yeah, that's the main reason why I'm here today.
Next question. What will be the federation that you like the most?
Honestly, it comes down to two feds that I really like. One of them is a fed called UWCE back, because that was the first fed I ever went to. It's an indie fed, which before they shut down, they had a lot of good people like Chris Apov, Keith Ultra, a lot of people in that nature. That was before it shut down, and I think it's coming back soon, which I'm very happy that it is. And the second, well, I like it because obviously that's where I came from. That was the first fed I've been introduced to. I got pushed there. I figured out what pro wrestling was in this fed, what kayfabe was, and all that. And the second fed, I wasn't really active there much, but every time I went there, I had a hell of a good time. And that fed is AXW, because I don't know, it was a good environment. The people there were chill. The fed owner himself, he's overlooked on. He's such a good host, but sadly the fed closed down. But in terms of kayfabe and such, that AXW was a go-to place for kayfabe and stuff like that. The storylines there were so amazing, bro. The production was on a whole nother level. The fed was just advanced, and I really wish it came back. For a go home show or such, because I don't know. I just regret not being active there as much, even though I said I would.
Moving on into the third question. Who inspired you in pro wrestling?
Well, back then, I gotta go with Isaiah again, because again, he was he stood by my side, and we're still cool to this day. And every time he did something, I was just yeah, I want to do it too, because he was the reason why I'm here. And there's this other person that like motivates me like to this like today. And we trade a lot, and I have to give that to Sean Puff because like he's one of those people who I could say is actually genuine and wants to see me like at my best in terms of like fighting, winning titles, training. He wants to see me pop off basically, and it's not even that. I just respect him as a person. He's like nice, and sometimes we troll around with each other, we joke, and he's like a friend to me, a close friend. But yeah, he's definitely one of my go-to friends if I like need something or just want to chill, hang out with, joke around with. But yeah, those two people are like major inspirations, and I love them both. And they're both like brothers to me. But yeah.
Next question. That will be the one title that you are mostly proud of. Like in terms of a major title, minor title.
As a person that hasn't won much like, major Fed titles that comes from the indies and such. That's a hard question. Let's see. I would have to go with the UWC world title. I beat Killer Storm back in like November of 2020 for that. And I held the title for a pretty long time, maybe like a month or two, and I lost it. I had a good reign with it. A lot of people like were challenging me and all that. So, but that basically gave me a feeling of how it felt to like be at the top of the mountain. So, yeah. I have to choose that to be my favorite title because of that.
Seems understandable. Anyway, fifth question. What's your favorite Raw Wrestling theme song to be considered catchy?
Honestly, with all the people that are in Raw Wrestling, right? And, they use a lot of themes that sound similar to one another. Like, they're like generic, you know what I'm saying? But there's like a handful of people that have good themes that actually stand out. One of them, I don't know. I kind of like J Extreme's theme. It's catchy. Either J Extreme's or maybe mine. I like mine too. Mine's good, but like, yeah. Other than myself, yeah, J Extreme for sure. His theme song "Move." It's like not generic. I don't know. It's different, I guess, and that's why I like people that stand out, have things that stand out about them, and one of them is Jay because his theme. It's on a whole different level. I like it.
Alright, moving on into the sixth question. Let's switch up with top fours. I want to know why that you have discovered those Raw wrestlers are considered to be on this list. So, what are your top four Raw wrestlers when it comes to ring competition and entertainment?
All right. I mean, number one, maybe Brutal David, just because he knew how to put on a show. Like when it came to his matches, his promo, his like fucking 20-minute promos and all that. I don't know. He had the crowd like entertained. Like they always gave him a reaction, whether they cheered him or booed him. They were still like invested into like everything he did in the ring. So I'm gonna have to give that to him. So that's number one. Number two, I'm gonna say Justice because for the same reasons, like everyone's invested into him. Number three, damn, this is hard. Number three. I'll give it to Sean. Not only because he's my friend, but because he's done a lot in his career, and he's actually willing to help other people elevate and bring them up as like new Raw wrestlers. But yeah, number four, I'm gonna give it to Mint. He's like a not new gen, but he just came back, and I think he's done a lot within the time he's been here. So like, he's won like us. He's won a lot of world titles, a lot of minor titles. I've been here longer than him, and I haven't done as much as he did, so I have to give that to him. Those are my top four for sure.
Bet. Next question. That will be the one particular thing that you do like about pro wrestling.
One thing I like, I mean, yeah, real wrestling has kind of been in a slump lately with all the toxicity, people getting exposed, people getting mad over a loss and shit like that. But like, I see why people get mad at losses and stuff like that. But like, just like, well, I get mad, but I brush it off, and I don't like overdo things. But that's not what this is about. One of my favorite things about this community is like, well, let's take the Adrian Wonder situation. Him going, him needing money. Everyone was so supportive of him. And that's one thing I like about this community. Like, they're supportive of one another at times when they need it the most. Or let's say everyone will wish their condolences and stuff like that, and they'll be there for them. So I guess I could say that. Like, people are supportive. That's, yeah.
Right. 8th question. So, what would be the memorable match that you had in ring competition back in the day?
Most memorable match. That's a hard one. I've been in a lot of matches, but I'm gonna say my US title match at AXW when I fought for the AXW US title against Matt Fighter and Paul Flair. Like, although I lost that match, I still put up a good fight, and like, the storyline was amazing around like that title match. Like, the kayfabe was there, everything was there. Like, the match was just perfect, and I put my all into that match and stuff like that. It was one hell of a fight, and Gioni's one hell of a fight on there. I feel like people just hated on him because he had something that other feds didn't have, and people were just so invested into like everything he did. But yeah, the AXW US title match I was in was definitely one of my most memorable.
Moving on into the 9th question. So, in your imagination, what will be your possible dream match opponent to face up against?
Maybe Perk Angle. He's one of those people who I'd probably want to fight because, he seems chill and all, and it wouldn't hurt fighting him. He's just, I can't like explain it. If I ever had a dream match, I'd probably fight him. It would get so much hype and stuff like that. EJ Cole's another one that I probably would want to fight just because, again, it's just a dream match. Those are like the two people I'd love to fight though, just because, it would be fun and I'd actually, be motivated to fight them. Things like that.
And the final question of the day before we're gonna end the episode. What are your future plans that you are planning before retiring?
Before I retire, I want to do something memorable. I want to win some belts and bigger feds, and submit my legacy. I don't have one now, but as a rising star, maybe I'll be able to do something within the time I have from now to the time I decide to retire. I'll just put in effort and, do what I gotta do. There's no like titles in specific that I'd want to fight for. I'll just take whatever I could get and, run with it until I lose it and then move on to the next and the next. Until I decide that I don't want to do this anymore and that I've done enough. I just want people to remember the name.
That was it, folks. Stove, if you have anything to say, goes to the outro. Can you make it somehow?
Yeah. Alright, so sub to SVR, Spence Gold. And I hate IBD, he sucks.
Anyway, and I will see you guys to the next episode of the SVR Podcast. See you later and goodbye.